With almost 8 billion people living around the world, you can be sure that no two people are alike. Everyone is born with something that makes them unique and different. The people on this list are not your typical humans. They have extraordinarily rare body parts that make them stand out from others. From those born with 2 uteruses, to a young man that has an entire billboard on his face. Here are 10 people with extraordinarily rare body parts. Before we dive into this list, make sure to leave a like on this video. Also, if you would like to join this month's Star 5 giveaway of a brand new iPhone 15, then all you have to do is subscribe to our channel and watch this video until the end to find and comment the hidden message. Good luck. Number 10. Victoria Wright. Victoria Wright is now in her early 40s, but she has always known that she was much different from other kids. It didn't always start that way, but her life changed forever when she was a 4-year-old and her mother realized that Victoria's teeth seemed out of place. A trip to the hospital revealed that Victoria had a rare condition known as cherubism. This was caused by an overgrowth of fibrous tissue resulting in a bigger bony structure at the lower half of the face. This became much bigger as she entered her teenage years, with an exaggerated jaw and protruding eyes. By the time she turned 16, Victoria had to get surgery to relieve the excess pressure. Although this is mostly painless and not life-threatening, she still suffers from occasional headaches and strained vision. Thankfully, this hasn't stopped her from having a family life, even to the point of refusing reconstructive jaw surgery as she lives happily with her husband and children. Number 9. Hannah Kersey. Women are expected to be born with just 1 uterus, which is important for reproduction. However, Hannah is not like typical women. Instead of 1, she has a whopping 2 uteruses that she was born with. Of course, this is an extremely uncommon condition, but surprisingly happens to 1 in 1,000 women. The good news is that all it does is provide double the fun, but nothing that threatens her life. Interestingly, Hannah gave birth to triplets in 2006, but not your typical kids. 2 were identical twins from 1 womb, while the last was a fraternal sibling from the other womb. This is the first time it would ever be recorded in medical history. All 3 kids are growing healthily and happily. Number 8. Steven Taylor. Steven Taylor made it into the Guinness Book of Records in 2009 as the man with the longest and largest tongue in the world. But that's not the only thing that is fascinating about his tongue. For many people, their tongue stopped growing by the time they approach adulthood. However, even after setting the Guinness World Record, Steven's tongue grew an extra 0.5 centimeters. It's not surprising that this extraordinary body part has made him famous in his home in England and all around the world. Steven takes every opportunity to show off his tongue as much as possible. His tongue easily reaches the tip of his nose, which is quite great for a tongue that stands at an impressive 9.8 centimeters. Number 7. Kala Kaiwi. No one on Earth has earlobes as large as that of Kala Kaiwi. Kala is your typical human, with a tattoo salon in Hawaii where he showcases his mystery of the craft. However, it's not easy to ignore his unique appearance, especially with how his tunnel-like ears stand out. Therefore, Kala is known as the man with the biggest ear tunnels in his earlobes. These have an impressive 4-inch diameter, which is equivalent to 109 millimeters. It is wide enough for a hand to get through. Definitely sounds very crazy and looks even crazier. Well, he wasn't born this way, but the record is considered non-surgical. Number 6. Chang Du. What would it take to have the largest chin in the universe? Well, you'd have to ask Chang Du. He is a Chinese man that lived a regular life up until the point when a pimple grew on his face. For any other person, they would pop the pimple and then go on with their life. However, Chang Du squeezed out a pimple and it instead began to grow rapidly. Now his chin is so big that it's considered the largest in the world at the moment. In a bid to save up money for an expensive surgery that would correct this irregularity, Chang Du offers space on his chin to people and companies for advertisement. Sounds ridiculous, but it has worked for him so far. Number 5. Kim Goodman. One look at Kim Goodman and you wouldn't see anything out of the ordinary, but she is definitely not your average woman. To unleash Kim's extraordinary feature, all you have to do is challenge her to a staring contest. Kim Goodman holds the current Guinness World Record for the longest eyeball protrusion. This means that she can pop her eyeballs far out than any other person in the world. That definitely looks extremely painful and weird, but Kim doesn't experience any discomfort doing this. She can pop her eyes to a remarkable 11 millimeters beyond her sockets. Kim discovered this unusual feature after she accidentally hit her head with a hockey mask and her eyes popped far out. From that moment, she discovered that she could control her eye muscles, and this neat little trick earned her global fame. Number 4. Michelle Ruffinelli. Women come in all shapes and sizes, from having generous curves to a slimmer frame. However, Michelle stands out as a woman with over-exaggerated hips. And Kim Kardashian has got nothing on this woman in her 40s. Mikkel has the biggest hips in the world, enough to make the LA woman enter through doors sideways. Despite being just 5'4", her hips measure a whopping 100 inches compared to her moderate waist of 40 inches. However, Mikkel has never gone under a knife to achieve these hips. They are completely natural and increased in size every time she gave birth until she had her fourth child. So, how did this happen? Well, everyone's body makeup is different, but Mikkel's diet that includes 3,000 calories per day may have something to do with it. As expected, this has its downsides. Mikkel can't sleep on the average bed, so she has a custom-made one. She also uses a reinforced chair to accommodate her hips and drives a truck. Number 3. Mohammed Kaleem. Mohammed Kaleem's large hands are nothing like you have ever seen before. This little boy who lives in eastern India was born with unusually large arms and hands that have never stopped growing. At some point, they reached an unbelievable length of 33 centimeters from his wrist to his fingertips. Just one of his hands weighs heavily, and the little boy carries 2 of these around. Unfortunately, he faces discrimination from fellow villagers, as most of them are superstitious and refer to him as a devil child. His extra-large part is due to a condition known as macrodactyly, or local giantism, leading to an overgrowth of bone and soft tissue in children. However, his parents didn't earn enough to afford a surgery that will help him complete simple everyday tasks. Thankfully, a specialist reached out a few years later and performed an 8-hour surgery to reduce the size of his forearm and right hand without damaging his nerves. Hopefully, more medical advancements will afford Mohammed a better chance of living a normal life. Number 2. Jose Mestre. Our faces are one of the most unique parts of the body. Even identical twins have slight differences in their features. However, Jose Mestre from Lisbon, Portugal is known as the man with no face. Although he was born with ordinary facial features, but this changed as soon as he hit puberty. It started with a small strawberry-colored birthmark on his upper lip that grew at an alarming rate over 35 years. This growth was so massive that it covered his entire face, leading to partial blindness and difficulty in breathing. You can imagine how tough it was to carry out regular tasks. The doctors diagnosed this as an extreme hemangioma tumor, resulting from the expansion of a collection of blood vessels. However, he initially rejected surgery as it would require a blood transfusion that was against his religious beliefs. Luckily, a surgeon offered a way to treat Jose without the risk of major blood loss. After a long procedure, he finally got to see his face after a long time. Number 1. Slamit. Slamit's case of neurofibromatosis is one of the most extreme in recent times. This man in his early 60s is riddled with thousands of tiny tumors covering every inch of his body. This all started with a little tumor on his waist that he had removed in 1991. However, rather than offer the much-needed relief, this small growth began to multiply until every inch of his skin was covered just 6 months later. Unfortunately, this condition has led to partial blindness, and Slamit can't breathe properly, constantly battling with huge pains. Interestingly, this tumor is the result of an overgrowth of cells around his body, and is not contagious or cancerous. Sadly, there is no cure for this condition yet, but Slamit continues to seek answers. And that wraps up today's video. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and give us a like. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications so you never miss a video from Star 5. Thanks for watching.